Moon Knight is in the news these days more than ever for obvious reasons, but there are some sides to him that are yet to be revealed in the new series. Here are the top 10 powers you didn't know Moon Knight had. Okay, at number 10, we have pain resistance. Moon Knight, or Mark Spector, has been through a lot over the years, and it's fair to say that he may be the living reminder that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I know what you're thinking off the top. That isn't really a power. Well, a lot of Moon Knight's powers are like this, since Khonshu comes in and out of the stories as a powerful muse for Mark Spector. Some say this is because he was Marvel's response to Batman's success, basically Marvel's Batman, and we all know that Batman is sort of the same way. A guy who doesn't really have any special powers other than what his mortal identity brings to the table. One good example of Moon Knight's pain resistance is in the first run for the character when he crawls through Bora's icy wind, despite the extreme pain, something that even Professor X confirms is causing him so much agony that he can't even fathom this ability. It could be argued that his tolerance to pain could be due to him having died and come back to life, giving him a tougher disposition by way of Khonshu's blessing. Or he's just a badass like that. Okay, at number 9, we've got weapon mastery. If you follow Moon Knight's story in the comics, you'll know that his work in the CIA has him training with all sorts of weaponry like batons, brass knuckles, chains, shurikens, as well as guns like pistols, sniper rifles, submachine guns, and grenade launchers, among many others. His background in the CIA and Marines have arguably a more substantial effect on his power set than the event with Khonshu's ghost, which is a pretty cool way for a character to find their power set, if you ask me. At number 8, we have Moon Knight's super speed. This is a power that often isn't cited as one of the character's main abilities, but it is something he flaunts again and again. In a few instances, he actually dodges bullets, one time from a number of different automatic turrets firing at him all at once. This is a pretty crazy display of not only speed, but dexterity, being able to move his body like this and doing it while he's flying through the air. In another instance, he actually dodges fire from a lightning spear while he's crammed into a tiny aircraft. And another time when he actually catches a dart fired from a crossbow with ease. This ability comes in hugely handy for this guy because I'm not sure that his speed even relies on the power of the moon. He's just like this. At number 7, we've got Immortality. This is one that many people wouldn't necessarily attribute to Moon Knight because Mark himself has actually died a handful of times. But it seems as though every time this happens, Khonshu is able to revive him without issue. The best demonstration of his tendency to be brought back from the dead is near the end of Moon Knight Volume 3 when he dies, twice. The first time it seems that he's stabbed and takes a huge fall, but then he's brought back from the depths of the ocean. And the second time he dies right at the end of the storyline, but in the following run comes back again, emerging, or rather exploding, out of Khonshu's tomb. So he's not immortal per se, but he doesn't seem to be capable of being dead for very long before his ancient muse is able to give him another go at life. At number 6 is what's known as kinesis. This entry and most of what's coming up for the rest of the list is during a time when Mark is influenced by Khonshu's powers. So he gets some pretty huge power boosts. Kinesis is basically the ability to control the different moons in the universe, as well as any objects made out of the moon's materials. This is what actually allows him to take control of Mjolnir in Avengers number 33, which we'll explore more later on in the list. This power is super useful considering for this time he is able to call upon the energy of the moon to imbue him with a plethora of extremely useful abilities. Another power that goes along with this is known as geokinesis, which is pretty much the ability to manipulate any minerals, rock, and dead terra firma that would make up the structure of a moon, or anything considered to be a moon in the universe. So if your planet's moon is made up of mostly titanium, for example, he's gonna be able to manipulate titanium by sheer will. Pretty nuts. All right, at number 5, we've got the time that Mark Spector is empowered by Phoenix Force while he's facing off against the Avengers and his former master Khonshu. We all know that the Phoenix Force is one of the most powerful deities in the universe, and it has been used most notably to possess living beings as hosts. But considering how powerful Mark gets when he's taken over by Khonshu, one can only imagine how much of a boost he gets when Phoenix Force is brought into the mix. Actually, one doesn't have to imagine, because in Avengers number 37, we witness Moon Knight taking on Phoenix Force and harnessing the most power he's ever had in his life. He gets so powerful at this point that he just sort of dismisses Khonshu, showing that he doesn't need the Moon God anymore due to his immense power from Phoenix Force, and a few of the Avengers as well. But that's coming up at the top of our list, so stay tuned. At number 4, we've got Moon Knight's ability for self-sustenance. Maybe this is one that you already know, but it's another power that often isn't associated with Moon Knight's typical power set. While he's imbued with Khonshu's power, Mark Spector is actually able to live in any atmosphere without needing oxygen. This allows him to travel into the cosmos without the need for a breathing mask or a ship with a pressurized cabin. He makes use of this power when he travels to the moon to encounter Thor in a pivotal moment in Moon Knight's trajectory as a character. It's an ability that is widely underrated for this character, but allows him to reach his full potential when he faces off against the Avengers, mentioned previously on this list. At number 3 is Moon Knight's Telepathic Resistance. This is a great ability, and it's actually attributed to the character's struggle with mental illness, and more specifically his multiple personality disorder. This is clear in West Coast Avengers Volume 2, issues 30 and 36, when Moon Knight is working with the Avengers and notices that he's the only one whose mind hasn't been taken control of. He attributes it to the fact that he's grown strong over the years dealing with his own struggles with mental intrusions from the moon god Khonshu. He even notices that Vision's mind has been taken over, and for an android to have his mind taken over, it just proves how strong Moon Knight's mind defense has become. Mind defense. Is that a good way of putting it? Anyway, you know what I mean. But considering he's got a number of other voices always speaking to him from within, he seems to have enough going on up there that his true mind, his reasonable mind, stays intact when mind control is tried on him. All right, at number 2 is Moon Knight's formidable martial arts skills. I never use the word formidable, but I'm gonna use it now because the range of his fighting ability is just formidable. And I know we all know that Moon Knight can fight, that's obvious. But many people don't realize that it's one of his most notable and important powers, because sometimes he can't rely on the power of the moon or Khonshu's influence to get the job done, and he needs to go back to his roots as a trained CIA fighter. Did you know that Mark Spector, without even being under the influence of Khonshu, knows Muay Thai, Kung Fu, Eskrima, Krav Maga, Dambe, Savate, boxing, Silat, Filipino martial arts, Judo, Karate, and Ninjutsu. But what's most impressive is how he employs these techniques throughout his different runs in the comics. His training in martial arts is even arguably all that keeps him alive in tough times, like when he's badly injured in the pre-Vengeance storyline, rendering him weaker and slower than ever before. Probably the best place to look for his wide array of fighting abilities will be in the current run, first published in 2021 and being released as we speak. In this modern publication, Moon Knight is back to being brutal, and when not pulling his punches when facing off against his enemies. Moon Knight is back to being brutal and really not pulling his punches when facing off against his enemies. Okay, at number 1 is Power Absorption. This ability allows him to steal powers from other extremely powerful superheroes in a few different instances. In Avengers number 33, Moon Knight is on a tear, taking on a number of Avengers with an army of undead on his back. He starts off by taking the immortal Iron Fist's powers and encapsulating them in an ankh that he wears around his neck. Then he travels to the Sanctum Sanctorum to steal Doctor Strange's powers, also storing it in the ankh necklace. He tries this again with the Black Panther, but is unsuccessful. Not beaten, just unsuccessful in taking his powers away. So then he runs into Thor on the moon, which we mentioned earlier, and not a great place to run into the agent of Khonshu. Basically, he steals Mjolnir from Thor, which shows that this guy can basically render the Avengers useless, at least as long as they're apart. It's a pretty crazy feat for Moon Knight and shows off a power that some may not know he possesses. Okay, that's our list. Did you agree with it? Disagree? Leave it all down below in the comments and hash it out with me. I've been your host, Ben Ball. Please enjoy social media responsibly, but follow me on Instagram if you'd like, and follow Top 10 Nerd on Facebook, because we're on there right now if you still are. And as always, until next time, stay nerdy.